just go straight to the poems and not tell any more jokes. The poems are worse. In the dream where you were me, you lumbered through my commute, in bones shaped like mine without my acclamations. Rain hit my face in our mind early. You argued with your myself over trains, directions, felt at your collar where a rosary doesn't hang. You took my coffee with that look of yours on my face. On the phone, you thought my old man sounded intimate, half strangers. Near our daughter's school scowled when you absently didn't return pleasantries. You played with our wedding band. You carried our child on my shoulders. You loved her in my separate way. You strong-armed the stand-clear doors. Thought longingly about me, where back at home I quietly wept, drinking your tea. What America? Pray tell, which America do you so wag? Is it gun-sodden America or pre-proclamated America? Isn't Detroit still part of the Union? Aren't the taps in Flint still in Flint? Don't some of those strange trees still got their rope rash down in Southern Town with Confederate surname? Has enough time passed to forget Sandy Bine or Dylan the Baptist? Are they studying spores in Kentucky enough to make penicillin from the textbooks? Did they cancel the President show when they found his papa's robes? Is that an America to take a knee for under Jesus or whoever? You can't cash in the pages of American Bibles for non-perishables or bring tomatoes across her shadow. You can't unclick the Muslim ban or pare down the fire rock growing on the mosque's blackened rafters. It isn't fish. The propaganda is dizzy, and we don't work in turntables. How many slave trades' invisible courses can you trace backwards? What are those ships' glorious names? What flag clings desperately to their crow's nests? That America? Is that her, that Christian nation? That divisible experiment with her own Bethlehem, Pennsylvania, Remington, Indiana, and Lynchburg, Virginia? Have you visited the place where people still bellow Geronimo or accidentally spent time in church in Alabama on the eve of Bloody Sunday? Does that Easter bunny for you? Do we see eye to fire hose, America? How many masks can you have until you have to change flags, until the bars are stripped to crossbones? Have we gnawed off all the meat off General Lee? Is the paper too laden or drenched with amendments? How many dependents should we declare? Can we fix the copy and call them dreamers before it goes to press? What America? Which version are we pushing? Which Salem potion? Which poor, tired, and yearning will get the job done and not ask for pursuit or happiness? Does it crack your bell, America? Does it keep you fluorescent or candy stored? Did you really see that mountaintop? Was it still America when you got there? All right, I think we have 15 minutes, so I'm going to skip this poem, and then if I have time at the end, I'll read it, but that's how it goes. There is a Garden of Eden in my hometown where bones comprise the skeletons of dirt bikes and empty cans of the Genesee hang from native trees like Halloween, and ball fields never grow wild, where footpaths run alongside the sidewalk and nobody hangs a lost dog poster from the telephone poles. We're all on a first-name basis with each other's pets. America was born in Rochester, no matter what the textbooks claim. I'm from a place where folks still say dungarees, and there's an old plan for unwanted pregnancies that outdates the new one, where unwanted husbands take the jobs they're offered. I come from a tribe of ironic voting booths where everybody knows who's voting for David, who's voting for Joe. I come from a less shadowy, bigoted place where hatred doesn't hang its gun in another man's house. It's an ugly, understood stalemate. I come from a town where pistons grow from the flooded banks of the common river like cattails, where cinder blocks foundations go hatless in hopes that the Christmas bonuses finally come through, like trains that promise to arrive from Erie, or if and when the local parish eventually unlocks the raffle coffers. I was born in General Hospital. Generally, I came to be. My uncle was the town cop who brought kegs from the high school parties in the cemetery back to the precinct without writing a single ticket. We too had riots, but poverty preceded them, and Jesus liked to remind us it would always be there. You'll always have your undying alcoholics. Eden isn't a place you escape from. It's a bruise in the bigger picture. Eden is always falling. How are we looking on time?
Great. You have 5 minutes.
5 minutes? All right, I got 2 more, I guess. The day the kings hid up their own sleeves, darkness like a mouse hole sat flatly at the end of a moonlit tunnel. As evidence held a beveled glass up to its inspectors, and moons crooned down on sleeping pups, while beside a few reflecting pools the fished little dippers with comet tails tied to willow reeds, and flowers bled the floral beds in homage to the eldest yellow jackets returning from the War of Pigs. We drew the sea into a bottle and placed it in the ship equipped with messages, and they sailed underground to a city named Epitome, where knives grew on the branches of roanoaks, and great estranged aunts returned mystery books to the only library in the colony. The brushes bristled and the combs bared their teeth. The milk was shook as the television consoled the widow's pains. The markets bounded over a crimson mountain range, and in the garden the apple dulled, cider hardened baby snakes. We played rattled for temptation's sake. We saw horses sawed in two. We played heads or tails with the folks and the severed ends. And while the top was getting down, the bottom won the triple crown. The shoulder salt was in a pinch, and the coffee can the sugar dish. And as the pilot light was going out, we buried an ace in an oven mitt. While over in the submarines, the bug lights hung from periscopes, and mosquitoes dove down into bellies bespeckled with barnacles. As fish pulled one dipper after the next from the astral soup, their tails began to telephone, and the constellations grew, which is why, where in the sky only hung a little one, there now hangs two. This is the last one. I got the one more, Neil?
You have 2 more. Yep.
Okay, 2 more. Well, the other one's long. The cat is old. There's only 1 drop of milk in the carton, not enough for 2 coffees. The school is on the phone about a fat lip and an ice pack, but you're underground. It could be an ice pick. It could be lice. An old friend has died, and the doctor is angry that you've asked him to cure it. There are no pills for suffering, which is another word for life. Your friend says with a laugh, in the future they will call these moments memories. Memories, it would seem, have half sunk the ship. The cat is old, you say, to a child who is your child, instead of saying Zoe is dead. And we are never going to get over it. We'll just get old too and become accustomed to the sharp departures. The patio has committed suicide. The kudzu has twisted like worms into the shed. The oven has sabotaged a leftover meal, and the place down the street, which is now at your feet, is saying there will be a 30-minute wait for another version of the meal you've murdered back home, where the wait was accompanied by vinyl records and an old wanton cat. The cereal looks like life preservers in the hundreds. The light is out in the bathroom, and the hardware store is drunk, is passed out in the miscellaneously sized screws drawer. The police are in the street surrounding a man in a Rikers uniform with a pile of your unpaid bills at his feet. They ask if you recognize the man. You recognize the light bill, you say, though you don't want to implicate the escapee. The electric bill is lighter than last month by 1 bathroom's amount of luminosity, which sounds funny when you say it to yourself. The airline wants to know if you want to return. It's a computer and the country is failing. The automated voice asks, isn't it worth it rather to never come back? The cat is old, but to her it's nothing. She steps into the rain like it's raining for the first time, and so it is. She looks up with her best what the fuck face, and I shoot back, don't ask me, sister. Look, I was just put here in this day, in this allotment of joy and suffering. Someone tossed me some cereal. I think my daughter has a case of the ice picks. I'm hard of hearing, and wondering if the train will ever surface, wondering where Zoe is, nudging adverbs off a cloud, saying to herself the words lightning in a bottle like it's the first time we ever heard them. The cat is the cat, and every time the sun warms a square of flooring in the parlor, it's the first time, even though people have died before. I mean, the sun has crossed overhead. The sun has crossed overhead for the last time for some.
Nice.